this. And as we jump in today, I want to start off by this talking about this first point will be kind of what we keep going back to throughout this Family Circus series. And the idea here is this. It's a term called reverse engineering. Reverse engineering, okay? And this is kind of where you begin with the end in mind. Now, I'm not an engineer. I watch Thomas the Train with my boys. That's about it, okay? And I'm not anywhere like that. But the idea here is that instead of working on a project and saying what's next, you look at the project as a whole and say, where do we want to end up? And you kind of get the end in mind. You kind of say, okay, here's where we want to be. And then you begin to work toward that being true, your end goal in mind being true. And so when it comes to parenting, I think, again, I want to say, first of all, that I am not coming in this series as an expert in any way, okay? So you are coming to hear a practitioner, a fellow practitioner. We are in this together. I am learning, and we are in this process. In fact, where I'm at with my wife, Janine, and I, we've been married about 10 and a half years. We have 2 boys, a 4-year-old and an almost 2-year-old. In fact, he's turning 2 this week, okay? So I am not coming as an expert, like, look at me, my boys are perfect. No, none of that, okay? I am learning as we go. We are talking and kind of sharing again what God is teaching me, and we're just kind of passing on this on together. So that's kind of where to lay the foundation with this. But as we begin to think about this, I'm going to imagine that I'm going to want Zach to look a certain way in 14 years when he's a senior in high school. Okay? I have a picture that I want in 20 years from today when Brian is graduating college and hopefully not moving back home. Okay, hopefully he's moving on. Okay, that's kind of where we're at. But I want them to look a certain way. I want them to act a certain way. I want them to say and believe certain things. Now, there are some things I can't control. Okay, I would love for both of my sons to be 6'4", 250 pounds. It's really built, muscular. But look at Dad. All right, it's just I can't control some of those things. But I can have a part in shaping them what they believe. I can have a part in helping them be and lay the foundation for them to be a dad one day, for them to be a husband one day, for them to be a person who loves Jesus. You see, there are things I can be part of shaping in their lives. And so we kind of want to go, okay, when all is said and done, to reverse engineer this, when they're graduated, when they're looking back at their family life, when they're looking back, oh, what do I want to be said about me as a parent by them? When all is said and done, what do I want people to look at our family and to see? When all is said and done, what do I want to have my boys say and believe and live as a result of my parenting? You see, now we begin to formulate an end goal. And your end goal might be a little bit different than mine. But now that we know, okay, I know where I want to end up, I know where I want to go, now we can begin to say, okay, what do I do now? What do I begin to teach them now? You see, a danger for parenting is that we'll parent out of fear. That we'll parent out of what we don't want our kids to be. That will parent where we focus on the negative. Instead, by now having an end goal, now we can focus on the positive things we want to develop in them. We can be proactive as a parent instead of reactive. We can focus again, not again, here's what I want you to do in the situation, but here's a character I want you to develop in your life. And this character will be true whether I, the parent, am there in the room or whether I'm not there. You're the same person. So now we kind of go, okay, now we begin to get a picture, where do we want to end up? We begin to parent in a different way. You see, without reverse engineering, without having a goal in mind, it's the equivalent of you and I taking a gun or a bow and arrow, and we just shoot it wherever. I shoot at the wall, I shoot at the ceiling of the bow and arrow, I shoot it wherever, and then I go over and I find the bullet hole, and then I paint a bullseye. You know, I wasn't aiming at anything, but now I pat myself on the back going, I hit the target. And that's really the equivalent if we parent without any end goal in mind. We want to aim at something and try to hit it, not just be like, okay, whatever happens, that's, I guess, what was supposed to happen. We want to be a little bit more direct in our approach when it comes to parenting. You follow it where I'm at? Okay? So that as we kind of get that journey, as we kind of know the destination, now we begin to need a map. Okay? And now every journey requires a map. And we need to follow and stick with it. Okay? Once we reverse engineer this, we know where we want to go. Now we get to formulate a map. My family and I, we moved here 11 months ago. And we are just now getting used to some of the area, but what's helped us out greatly has been the GPS, okay? You know where you want to end up, so you put that address in the GPS, and it gives you step by step, turn by turn. Now, if I enter this stuff in the GPS, and I don't follow that little voice who's talking to me out of that box, okay? I'm going to be just as lost as if I had no GPS, okay? So you see, part of it is not just having a map. Now we need to stick with it as parents. Now we need to say, okay, now I know where we want to go, what we're going to begin to do in the process. We need to stick with this plan. You see, the danger is for all of us is that we'll just, as parents, we'll go through the motions. We'll kind of sit back and relax and we'll just kind of say, you know what? They're 4. For me, like, they're 4 years old and 2 years old. I mean, I have time, right? No. The thing is, my kids used to be 3 months old and 2.5. And now they're 4 and 2. And I hear that 8 and 10 are coming in the future. And then 14 and 16. And then, you see, I hear also that time flies. And I'm beginning to realize again, as a parent, it goes faster than before the kids were here. That might just be me. So we can't get lax. We can't say, well, we have time, we'll focus on this later. We need to get a map and stick with it and commit to this game plan, because the end is coming. There will be a day when they leave our household, and our influence, we're still going to be parents, but our influence diminishes from where they're at right now. You see, to win, to arrive at the destination is this. It's going to require an extraordinary effort over a long period of time. It's going to require work daily. It's going to require a constant effort. It's going to require us as parents to be more selfless and less selfish. To think more about the end goal more than we think about our own wants and desires. It's going to require us as parents to be teachable. We might have it figured out at 2 years old, but man, 6 years old comes, like, okay, I need to learn something else to get through this. It's going to require us as parents to go, okay, now my kid is 12 and they're turning 13, but we need to probably learn some more things. And that might mean getting books, getting around people who are already ahead of us with their kids or a little bit older than us, and we just get around and say, hey, how are you doing this? What have you learned? And kind of just constantly be learning in this area. And that's going to require us also, we believe as a church, it's going to require us to live and see through the eyes of Jesus. To use the Word of God not as a good idea, but to use this as foundation of our life. And to say, okay, here's what we want to impact and pour into our kids, this person of Jesus. It's going to require us to do that.